Welcome to Spill the Tea. Today, I'm speaking with Siena Summer. She writes a British cozy mystery series. Welcome to Spill the Tea. And tonight we're talking to Denise, who also writes cozy mysteries just like I do. So she has a set of cozy mysteries under the pen name Siena Summer. Did I say the first part right, Sienna?
You did, Siena
Awesome.
Summer. Yes.
So what made you choose to pick a pen name to write under?
Well, I've actually been writing nonfiction as well.
Okay.
So because of that, that's the reason I write with pen names. So I've got a pen name for my nonfiction books, and I thought it would be a good idea to do that for the fiction as well.
Just to kind of put them in separate categories for people.
Yeah, separate camps, don't mix up the brands and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of why I decided to do that. But I'm happy for people to know my real name. It takes me back to I used to be a teacher,
Okay.
primary school, which I think is elementary school for you guys.
Yeah.
And it was always, when children found out your real name, it was always, wow, we know your first name. So it takes me back to those days.
A little fun of a secret identity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So what drew you to writing mysteries?
I've always loved cozies. Like before I was a writer, I was a reader of cozy
Mhm.
mysteries. And I love the genre and not just books, like, TV. And I think my earliest memories would be watching Scooby-Doo cartoons with my sister.
Saturday mornings,
I'm
Scooby-Doo.
dating myself now. But yeah, and so I've always loved it. And then there was like shows like Murder She Wrote and
Mhm. I loved Murder, She
my
Wrote.
parents were always watching Columbo, so you kind of got sucked into watching those, and so I've always loved that genre myself. So I kind of thought that would be a good one to jump into, something that they always say write about
Mhm.
things, and so that's where it all came about from.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your series and about the heroine in your books?
Yeah, sure. So my series is called the Sandy Cove British Mysteries. So they're set in the UK in Cornwall, which it's in a little seaside village, very quaint. It's fictional. I wish it was real. When I write about these places, I'm like, I want to go there.
You want to
So,
visit?
yeah, exactly. It just sounds so nice and cozy. And the people, I would love to meet my characters. I've fallen in love with them. So, my protagonist, her name is Maggie, and she grew up in Sandy Cove, but she went off to London and worked there for a while. Things didn't work out for her, so she's come back. And she's working and helping out in her aunt's bookshop. And she can sort of go after her passions, which are books, reading, and baking. She secretly would love to be a baker, but she kind of lacks that confidence. So even though people tell her that they're good enough, and when I say biscuits, I mean cookies. There's this whole in the front of my books, actually, I've got like a little disclaimer there to explain, the spellings. You might look at them going, that's not spelt properly. So spelling, grammar, it's all kind of
Is
based in
isn't
British.
that um difficult in a way and yet at the same point fun because you'll have different spellings and you have different words for different things, right?
Yeah, yeah. For
It's
me, it's not so weird because in Australia, we tend to follow the British way of speaking and spelling and
Mhm.
grammar and all of that sort of thing. But for my readers, I'm sure it is because I know I've got a lot of people in the States. And that's why I kind of thought I'll explain it at the beginning because they're going to think, what is this girl doing? She's got spelling mistakes all through her books.
I, I
But
I
I
I
mean,
I had lots of reviews like that because I'm
oh,
Canadian.
oh,
Oh,
yeah,
those blasted
exactly.
U's,
I
color,
know. It's so
flavor.
true though, isn't it? I wish we had this nice generic way of doing everything, but yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, English is one of those baffling languages. I'm
It
glad it
is.
was my first language. I really am. Yeah, so getting back to Maggie, she's working in her aunt's bookshop. Her aunt has a book club. they tend to read mystery, so they're called the Mystery Book Club or the MBC, full of quirky little characters there. And yeah, they get together once a month, read. So it's all that cozy vibe. The bookshop itself, it's the kind of bookshop I always dreamed of having myself. It's one of those places where you could go buy a book, but you could go read a book. So
Oh,
there's all these nice little plush chairs all scattered throughout where you can sit up and read a few chapters and all that sort of thing. And you get a complimentary cup of tea and a biscuit, while you're doing that. So it's kind of a place that I would go, oh, I'd love to go there and spend some time. So that's kind of where it all kind of focuses on. And then what happens in the first book, which is called, oh, I'll show it. Look at me.
you got a
Plug.
copy.
Deep
Nice.
Dry Deception. Hopefully the background isn't blocking that out. But the premise of that is that uh, one of the members of the book club, one of her friends, is a person of interest
Hmm.
when somebody is murdered or killed or dies mysteriously. And so she reluctantly at first, but she's kind of pushed along by her cousin. She's got this cousin that's kind of where Maggie is very cautious. Her cousin Kate is impulsive, adventurous, and so she's kind of the one that pushes her into amateur sleuthing. They want to, clear their friend's name, and
Yeah.
that's what kind of motivates them in the end. So I think another key character in this book series, and you may have seen this key character on the cover,
That
is the
lovely
dog.
little dog.
And that's Maggie's dog. Now, Maggie's dog is my dog.
Oh.
Like, yeah, it's carbon copy. She was the inspiration. And this little dog is called Biscuit because she has an addiction to biscuits. And sadly, my dog does too. So much so, like I have sometimes have to bake her own biscuits, like so that when we have one, it got to
So
the
that she
point where
gets
she
her
would
own.
hear the coffee machine or the kettle, and she'd come
Hmm.
running in wherever she was. 'Cause she thought a biscuit, or she might get a biscuit. So that's where the whole idea of biscuit came from. And yeah, they're one and the same, definitely. Personality is there. And Biscuit's a key character in the stories as well. And one of the reasons I love cozies with animals in them. So I
Hmm.
had to have an animal in mine. Yeah, so that's basically what the story's about. And there's of course, the dashing detective, um, and his constable who, they humor Maggie and her amateur sleuthing, but sometimes I'm sure they're frustrated by it, but they kind of find it humorous as well. But yeah, so that's another thing I like about cozies. I love that you can have a bit of humor in there. I know
Hmm.
someone dies and that's not a good thing, but they have this lightness and
Yes.
positivity about them, which, I think it's nice. It's nice to read things like that. It's
Well,
nice
I
to,
think that's where the cozy really comes in. It's that little light escape. And yes, something
yeah,
terrible has happened, but we just kind of brush on it and then we
I
get into
know.
the fun.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I know. So, yeah, and that's another thing that drew me to writing cozies as well. And just the way it's the community. You
Mhm.
build these little communities in your books, and you come. Well, I've come to really love my characters. I would love to go there and meet them. I wish this place was real. Um, and just building that world around them. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's an escape. I like it.
So is this book going to be part of a series then, or is it
Yes, it
standalone?
is. So this is book one. Book two
Mhm.
is actually going to be released next month, early in
Oh,
July.
nice.
I actually just approved the cover. So this is the first time I'm showing the actual cover.
Woo, cover reveal.
So I don't know if that's going to work. Let
Oh,
me see. If I do it
there,
like
there it
that,
is. Yep.
there it is. Oh, it's a bit like a cover reveal. You know where they cover it up? So there it is. It's Vanishing Vows. So it
And
centers
it's
around
vanishing on
20.
screen.
Yeah, I know. How funny was that? I planned it that way.
There we go.
I planned it that way. Yeah, it did look like one of those weird little cover reveal things. Here it is, and there it goes. Yeah, so it centers around a
Magic.
wedding, and I think the hook line is something like, the wedding was planned to perfection. All that was missing was the groom. So
Oh,
yeah, it's not the runaway bride sort of thing. It's
it's the
what
groom that's
happened to the
gone.
groom, Has he met with foul play? Has he done a runner? What's going on? So yeah, it's another one with lots of twists and turns, and there is a new furry friend that's introduced in book two as well. I couldn't resist.
Well, it's fun introducing furry friends. Now, do your furry friends play a significant part in like helping finding clues, or are they're more
At
just for
times
the
they
comfort of
do.
them?
Yeah, at times. There's the humor factor of the pets. Like with Biscuit the dog, she has these soulful eyes that just look up into people, and basically they're very good at getting people to sort of wear them down in that they drop their guard. So
Mm.
when Maggie's talking to them and everything, it's all like, oh, look at the dog, because the dog goes everywhere, nearly everywhere with her. Very good at getting information out of constables, and there's there's the detective, but there's the young constable in the story too, who loves Biscuit, and so the girls are able to sort of prize all this information out of him thanks to the dog. And sometimes they'll help stumble on things. Sometimes I don't want to give too much away, but sometimes they get more involved than in the case than you think they will.
Mhm.
But yeah, so they're a big part of the story as well.
That's awesome. Now, your covers are
Yeah.
very, very pretty. Well done.
Thanks.
I love the color scheme going on with them. I feel like it's very on point and very, bright and airy and attractive,
Oh,
shall we say.
thank you. I think covers are really important. I
Mhm.
do. I've worked with cover designers for that reason. I know people say don't judge a book by its cover,
But we all
but we
do.
do judge a book by its cover. We do. I know I do. You sort of see a cover and you go, oh, that looks good, and it
Yeah.
draws you in. So I really felt that it was important to invest some time and money. And oh my gosh, we go through so many versions because I'm very picky about, do this, tweak that, change this, do that. But at the end of the day, you got to be happy with it too. So
Hmm.
it takes a little bit of time to get there. But I've been happy. I've been happy with the end product for both of my covers. And I'm sort of in the revisions of book three at the moment,
Oh, okay.
which is going to be a Christmas novella. So it's going to come
Nice.
out around October. I know that's not Christmas time, but I figure, you
No,
know,
no, no, but it's
it's a
good to
good
be
time to
ahead of the
come out.
curve. People like
Yeah,
their
exactly. You don't want to
Christmas,
get
they're
too
buying
close.
in November, right?
Exactly. You can
Yeah.
buy it and put it on your to read list, and it's there waiting for you at Christmas time. Yeah. I know that one was fun to write. Oh, sorry, but my biscuit just ran into the room. She's just come back from a walk. Apologies for that.
That's okay.
She's just like, she's got to come and tell you, I'm back, I'm back. So this, have you ever been to a murder mystery party?
Yes, they're so much fun.
It's on my bucket list to do. So this is what the book centers around. They have a murder mystery party, and
Oh, nice.
somebody actually gets murdered. So that's been fun to do. So that one's in the pipeline to come out in around October. Fingers crossed. Yes.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
you're averaging like a book every 6 months or so, are you thinking?
I've been trying to do the rapid release, getting one out every 3 months for the first three, anyways. I know people
Tough
like
work. Good for you.
it is. I know. I know people like to know there's a series.
Hmm.
Uh, and so that's why, particularly with the first three. I want to have more in this series too. But with the first three, I wanted to get them out as quick as I could, have three in the year. Crazy person. And at the same time, I'm still writing some non-fiction ones as well. Like my friends go, "You're crazy. What are you doing?" Like, I I can't. I stopped teaching, but I still need something to keep me busy and going. Yeah, yeah. But I enjoy it, and that's the main thing.
Yeah,
Find something you love to do, and it's not really work then.
that's very true. It's very true.
Yeah,
And I see on your website,
yeah.
there is a free gift or a free book.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is. So I have a prequel
Oh,
as
nice.
well, and this is the story of how Maggie met Biscuit, her dog. And I don't want to give too much away, but it centers around there's a bit of talk that there could be a puppy farm or a puppy
Mhm.
mill in the area. And her cousin is horrified by the whole thing and sort of wants to, investigate and put an end to it. So it's kind of like the start of their investigations, and it's based around when Maggie comes back home to Sandy Cove, and leaves London. So it's kind of the start of her journey back in Sandy Cove as well. And you meet some of the characters, some of my regular characters as well. So yeah, people can go on the website. That is the link I gave you because everything's on the website. So
Yeah.
you can join like that. You can sort of follow the Facebook group. You can join the newsletter. My newsletter, I send it out every month, and I always try to make it fun. I always there's always an update because my dog Lily is Biscuit. I always have an update on the real Biscuit and what she's
Mhm.
been up to. And I always share a recipe. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I like to do that as well. And I try and only do that once a month, so that you're not too bombarding people too much. I don't know about your inbox, but mine's always overflowing with things. So I
It
try not to do too much.
it gets a little overwhelming once in a while.
Oh
And I
gosh,
always
it
apologize to my readers. I'm like, give me time to read your stuff. I will respond eventually.
I know. I always respond. If people reach out, I always respond. In fact, there was one really lovely lady who reached out from America, and I've got some recipes in the back of the books as well.
Mhm.
And I thought I had done the conversion for the US, the metric to US measurements and stuff right. And because it was a British recipe, it wasn't, there was one measurement that was off. And she
Yeah.
made the biscuits, God love her. I praised her for the fact that she actually made the biscuits because I never know if people actually do that. And she said, I think there was an issue in so I've dubbed her my she is now my go-to person when it comes to US conversion measurements, just to make sure.
Make sure it's right.
So I kind of put updates on my website about it and put it in the newsletter too. If anyone's planning to bake these
To make
biscuits,
this, please,
just make this
double
adjustment.
check.
Well, it was funny because she said they were very, very crisp. I went, well, a biscuit is supposed to have a crunch to it, but not that much.
Yeah.
So it's great. I love when people email me, and I always write back. I think it's really nice to have that relationship with your readers. Yeah, I'm enjoying
Absolutely.
that. Mm.
Yeah. So, you started like when did you start writing? You said you did some nonfiction or other stuff.
Yeah, so it's probably about 3 years ago now that I started taking seriously doing the writing. And I sort of finished teaching. I was doing a bit of tutoring, but I still wanted to do something. So I actually my nonfiction books are books about ADHD, and they're just kind of books that help people coping and managing their ADHD symptoms. It stems from the fact that I have people in my family with ADHD, and I taught a lot of children as well, and so that kind of took me down that path. But I always had this little, you know, sneaky desire to write fiction. Yeah, so I always knew I would get there. Um, and writing nonfiction was a nice way to sort of learn about writing
Mhm.
and the whole process because I'm an independent publisher as well. So I'm an indie. Um, and so I had to learn about everything else. I wish I could just write some days because
And let
it's
somebody
all
else
the
take
other
care of the
stuff
other
you have
half of
to
the
do and
business.
the marketing, and the ads, all that stuff
Oh,
that I have this. phobia or fear of spreadsheets with numbers on them and things like that. And I just go, oh my gosh, you know. Um, but it was a good way to kind of
Mhm.
learn all of that stuff and then jump into the fiction. But I do enjoy the fiction a lot more.
It's a lot more creative and you get
Yeah.
the opportunity to sometimes even surprise yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, you know. And my thing is though, you know, I'm the perfectionist, so I have to kind of it's that stop, just write. Just keep writing. Stop trying to fix it. Stop trying to do the revisions before you finish the story, you know,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's the thing that I have to learn the most. But I enjoy it and I love the planning. I'm a planner,
Okay.
and a plotter, yeah. And but I love that part. And like I've always been like that, like even holidays. I've always loved the planning part of it, the holidays and things like that. So I really enjoy that part and creating the world and the characters. Who are they going to be? What are they, you know? What are their personalities going to be like? Actually, on my website, I have some character profiles that I've created
Oh,
there for
neat.
all the main characters. And I had so much fun with that because I even like I went and sort of created some photo images using
Hmm.
AI and stuff like that. And that was fun. That was fun to do. And then just having like a little bio about each of the main characters. So that was heaps of fun. One of my characters, though, she's so quirky. She's like a Reiki master, yoga teacher. She's very much into, you know, the universe and will grant it to, you know, all this sort of, you know, holistic stuff. And she colors her hair to match her aura. And so with these AI programs, you have to type in like a description of your character. So there's this woman in her 50s with brightly colored hair. I think I threw the program into shock because it took ages to get someone that resembled that, you know. But it was fun. It was fun to do. And I know when you read, you have your own idea of what characters look like
Mhm.
and stuff. But it was actually fun to create a visual interpretation of what these people would be like and put it up there. So yes, that's all
Hon-
on the website too.
I was gonna say, honestly, for me, that's actually a necessity. Because I tend to write long series, and after a while, I'm like, what did so and so look like? Who are they related to? What's their job again? How do I spell their
Yeah,
last name? So I literally have like
exactly.
a picture, and then I've got all the relevant information underneath in
Yeah,
the little
it helps.
categories.
It
And
helps.
it
But even
helps.
things like eye color, you're sort of writing, and then all of a sudden you kind of go, what was their eye color? You
Yeah.
know, and it's so important to have all those details, and even like what they wear and what their hobbies are, and
Like
yeah, it,
especially when it's a character that, they're a side character and they come back and say something important, but then they disappear again.
yeah, it's exactly right. You're so on the money there. It's definitely true, and you do have to do those things because you can easily slip up with the
Hmm.
just those little minor details. Yeah.
And the readers will find them.
Oh, they do.
They'll tell you all about it.
Honestly, I think your readers are your best proofreaders at the end of the day. You know, you can look at your manuscript like so many times and still miss things. And other
Hmm.
people can look at it for you and still miss things. And so I mean I welcome it. If people find things, I'm like, thank you for telling me, you know. Yeah.
Then we go back and we fix it and fix it
Yeah,
again.
exactly. And then,
But, but
upload a new version of the book.
that I think is one of the good things about being an independent. So when
Mm.
those errors and stuff comes up, you can fix it and you can re-upload.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, my dog's barking in the background. I hope you can't hear that.
it's all good. It's all good. Mine is at the pool right now, so she won't be bothering
Oh,
us.
nice. That sounds good.
I have one of my sisters. She's going out for a play in the pool.
Perfect.
So is there a specific reason that you chose to set your cozy mystery in England?
In Cornwall, in the UK.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was toying with the idea of setting it in the US or UK, and I was struggling with the decision. I was really drawn to the UK. I think my earliest memories of cozy was Agatha Christie's stories
Mm,
and all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. And now I love Richard Osman, I just always drawn to stories that happen there. And Cornwall's is such a beautiful place. And the people there are so unique too. And in the end, I actually posed the question. I was in a Facebook cozy mystery group
Hmm.
because I'm a lover of cozies myself. And I actually asked people, and I said, what would you prefer to read? A story set in the US or in Cornwall in the
That's
UK?
smart.
And so many said, oh, it'd be so good to have Cornwall because, there's also so many set in the States. And I actually
Hmm.
had one of my friends and she said, why didn't you set your story in Australia? And I was like, I just wasn't sure if people would want to read a story. But then again, I thought about it later and I thought we have so many creatures in our country that could kill you. It would probably be, poisonous this, poisonous snakes, poisonous spiders, sharks. Like I was like going,
We'd be
there's
learning
obviously
stuff
a lot of
about
positive
Australia.
and, unique ways that people could be killed. Maybe one day I would do it, but it'll be different, I suppose. I don't know. There may already be cozies set in Australia, but it would be a different thing. But yeah, so that's why I've always been drawn to stories in the UK. People
Mhm.
seem to be interested in it, and I just thought it'd be a kind of they have these beautiful little towns and villages there, and I felt like you could really create a lovely little community there. Yeah.
Hmm. And it definitely is always about the community and the characters and the place, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's
Yeah,
that's a
what makes
large
it
part of cozy reading is coming back to those
definitely.
places.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what people look for. And I know it was interesting because like during COVID times the sales of cozy books went through the roof because
Hmm.
people were craving that, because we all kind of got isolated a bit.
Yeah.
And I think people were really missing that community. And so they were wanting to read stories like that and feel good stories, even though there's murders in them, but they still feel good stories.
Well, the person murdered generally isn't well liked, and
Yeah,
the person who
true.
did the killing really isn't well liked, and everybody
Yeah.
else is well liked.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the other people that you go for.
Yeah, it's kind of funny what makes up a cozy. So, do you find that when you're writing your cozy mysteries, did you set out to make a series when you started, or
Yeah, I
yeah.
always wanted to because I like a series and
Mhm.
I've always liked a series. I mean, I think when I was young, one of the first series books I read Anne of Green Gables and I couldn't get enough of those and Little House on the Prairie.
Mhm.
Those books, I remember reading them in the school, borrowing them from the school library when I was a little girl. And I think when you finish a book, you kind of want it to continue. You get really attached to characters. And I remember when a series would end, it was always sad. You felt like you were
Yeah.
saying goodbye to some friends. And so I always knew I wouldn't be able to stop at one. I'd want to have more. Um, yeah, definitely.
So do you have a certain number planned for this series, or just kind of see where it takes you?
Yeah, I knew I'd have the goal for three this year. I'd like to do another three at least
Hmm.
and then see. If people are enjoying them, and if there's still ideas for stories, I would definitely keep it going if I could. Or start a new one.
That's always
Yeah,
the fun, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
All
exactly. I mean, I'm already thinking about another one. Um, and playing around with that. Sorry, I hope you can't hear my dog.
just a little bit.
Uh,
That's okay.
a little bit. I'm sorry about that. She was supposed to be on a walk, but yes, they came back early. Um, yeah, so I mean, there's always ideas. You always get
Mhm.
these ideas, and they pop in your head at the weirdest times, I find. You know, I get my best ideas in the shower. I need, I need like a waterproof pen and board or something that I can write ideas down on.
Get them down before they leave.
Yes, exactly. Or it's, in the middle of the night when I can't sleep or something and I'm laying there and I'm like, oh yeah, I need
I've
like a
got pens
notepad.
and little books everywhere.
Me too. Me too. And I am a notebook person still. You know, I definitely, while I do stuff on the computer, I still like that pen and paper
Well,
thing.
the thing is sometimes you're not at the computer or you're busy doing something and it's like, oh, just quickly write this down a second, I'll get back
Yeah.
to it later. Yeah.
Yeah. And my other thing is post-its, but I think a notebook is better
Mm.
because like my desk is covered in post-its all the time. And but then you lose them. And I've got a cat who likes to steal them.
Oh, yes.
He jumps up on the desk and he'll run off with, and I'm going, I think that was important. You have to go chase it to get it back.
Oh, that's funny. So, we're kind of getting towards the end of the interview because I'm too
That's
cheap to
okay.
buy, Zoom.
Oh no, look, I wanted to say I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed our chat.
Awesome. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you as well. It was very fun talking to you. And I'm going to put the links to your website and to your book on here. And
Fantastic.
if anybody wants to check them out, they sound great. And the second book is up for pre-order, Vanishing
Yes, it
Vows.
is.
So it's coming very, very soon. And
Oh, tell me
hopefully,
about it. It's kind of scary in a way.
those
I
long
just finished the formatting of it yesterday, so I'm like ready to give it to some ARC readers, just to one final check over, and yeah, it's getting close.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun and also a lot of work to put these up.
It,
So,
it is
yeah.
definitely,
But
yeah, but
we
I
definitely
love it.
appreciate our authors who do this and we love reading what they have. So,
Me too.
so thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. And maybe this fall when you have the third one out, we can have you again.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I'd love that. Thank you so much.